to VoTY Broadcast Episode 10! Today we'll be talking about birdwatching. We have seen how the COVID-19 crisis through newscasts and broadcasts and our podcasts has made widespread change to our lives. Schools has ended and most lives have been put on hold. But this is also the case for birds. We're seeing more birds take to the River Thames, and the skies encouraged by the lack of people outside, the lack of cars, and also the lack of noise pollution. And this makes it, with added free time, this makes it a perfect time to go bird watching. As Armaan addressed in his latest article, it's really easy to take up bird watching, and it has positive mental and physical effects that can be really beneficial and quite relaxing at times. And I interviewed Armaan for this VoTY broadcast, addressing some of the questions that some of you may have when you want to start birdwatching. Right, hello and welcome. And today we've got Armaan on, and he's going to be talking to us about birdwatching. Armaan, to start us off, why should we take to birdwatching?
Because birdwatching is a really great activity or hobby to take interest in, because it helps you to connect with nature and helps you to learn about your local environment. Just like your back garden or your local park. And it's really fun, it's really exhilarating. It can also help keep Britain's bird populations keep going strong, and we can track them, making sure species don't decrease in numbers, for example.
And then, are there any proven positive mental or physical impacts that birdwatching could have on your health?
Yeah, certainly. There are many benefits. For example, birdwatching is scientifically proven to reduce stress levels, anxiety and depression. It also helps improve your ability to be more attentive, patient, and increase the quality of observation skills, because birdwatching encompasses all of these.
And then, in terms of the current lockdown, have we seen a rise in the amount of birds due to less people being out and about?
Yeah, definitely. In places where you would normally see human activity, such as shipping along the River Thames, more and more birds are now seen there with the disappearance of man-made processes. For example, ducks building their nests in the middle of the River Thames, where otherwise a cargo ship would have run over it. You can see that you can see that yourself on Springwatch on BBC iPlayer.
And now, could that be attributed to there being less cars on the road and noise pollution?
It depends on the species of birds. For example, birds that are vulnerable to noise pollution, usually you wouldn't see around roads. But now you do, because there's much less noise pollution from cars. So now we're seeing an increase in bullfinches, lapwings, and many species of native woodpecker.
Now, how would you suggest someone go about starting birdwatching?
It's really easy. You can just start birdwatching by simply finding a place to do it. So, behind your garden window, as to not disturb the birds, or your local park, for example. And to help you identify birds, you can use a bird wildlife guide that can come in handy. Binoculars are not compulsory, but if you want to see the critters up close, then yeah, go ahead. They don't have to be expensive either. With today's technology, you don't even need a hard bird wildlife copy. Just go on your phone. There are plenty of good identification tools. Plus, you can use your camera to take a picture of them whenever you want to. Though I do recommend you attempt to learn some common birds beforehand.
And then, are there any British regular birds that you could see frequently when going birdwatching?
Yeah, pigeons, feral antwood, different types of crows, magpies, ring-tailed parakeets, which are urban parrots. You see them more often than you think. And also concerning songbirds, you can see house sparrows and robins. They're the most common. In fact, any bird watching day, I will probably see all those birds I just mentioned. Other birds include the blackbirds, another common one, as well as different species of tits and finches.
And then, do you have any other tips for prospective bird watchers?
My biggest tip is to be patient. Give the birds a bit of space; they will come. Yeah, and you don't go expensive, because anyone can do bird watching. You just need to find the correct way to do it, as I already said.
Sure. And then, in terms of finding habitats that these birds might live in, do you have any tips for that?
Yeah, of course. For example, if you just go out and check all the different environments, you will find birds in all of those environments. It just depends on what kind of bird. I think it's best to first look into a wildlife guide of that area, and then see which birds beforehand are suited to which areas, and then therefore you can be specialised into, seeing which birds in various habitats.
And then in terms of feeders at home, are some birds suited to different types of feeders, and how does that work in terms of pests?
In terms of pests, the aerial feeders are probably the best because they're less accessible than the ground feeders. For example, ground feeders can be accessed by foxes, pigeons, squirrels, whereas the aerial feeders, they can still be accessed by things like pigeons, crows, squirrels, but nowadays there are more tools to prevent that from happening. For example, squirrel-proof barrage and etc.
Yeah, and then final question: can you recognise birds from their song, or are their songs not unique to them?
It really depends. For example, for each environment, you will have different bird songs, and some will be similar. But generally, when you're looking for birds, you will look for their appearance, not by their song. But some songs are really easy to identify. For example, the blackbird or the house sparrow.
Sure. Well, thank you, Armaan, and I'm sure many of our listeners will get bird watching. Thank you. Goodbye.
No problem.
Please do check out the website for Armaan's birdwatching article for a bird spotter's guide and more information about how to get out there and get bird watching. Thank you and goodbye.